As many people pointed out, this was not just a revival for the nation, it was also a funeral for the left because the left has nothing they can compete with, right? They don't have good-looking people with good policies. They don't have any good communicators. What we saw for several hours, we saw nice-looking people come together on stage to eulogize Charlie Kirk, but to also talk about faith, family, conservative values, the American dream, and the American dream is unattainable on the left right now, right? You cannot attain the American dream on the left. They want you to own nothing and be happy. Their policies are unpopular. So to see these folks come together was really so beautiful, such a beautiful moment for the country. We've never seen something like this for a private citizen. We really haven't seen anything to this scale. Millions of people tuning in, hundreds of thousands showing up in Arizona at the stadium. I had so many friends who went. I just wanted to watch by myself. I knew I wanted to be alone and take notes. I cried. I laughed at times, I cried again, and I knew I just wanted to be by myself like the old days when I would just sit and watch and process this moment in history. I sometimes think when you go to these events, you're busy smiling and hugging people and networking and, taking pictures and doing this. I just wanted to sit, okay, in my gym shorts in front of the TV, eating a grilled cheese, watching and feeling everything and reflecting how we move forward. How do we move forward in this moment? What lessons can we glean? What lessons can we glean from some of the speeches? And one of the speeches I thought was incredible was J.D. Vance, probably the future president of the United States of America. And we actually have a clip of J.D. Vance discussing Charlie Kirk. Let's look at that.
That I always felt a little uncomfortable talking about my faith in public as much as I loved the Lord and as much as it was an important part of my life. I have talked more about Jesus Christ in the past 2 weeks than I have my entire time in public life. And that is an undeniable legacy of the great Charlie Kirk. He loved God. And because he loved God, he wanted to understand God's creation and the men and women made in his image.
I think there's so many people who tuned into Charlie Kirk's memorial service, maybe people who saw clips online, watched the live stream, who maybe are giving faith and family and conservative values a chance who never had before, right? Because the left tells women, freeze your eggs, focus on your career, you don't need a man, F men. Look at Alex Cooper, right? One of the biggest podcasters on the left speaking to young women. She tells them all the time to go have one-night stands, and she talks about sex and dating and all of that. Meanwhile, she married a guy, she has a dog, she has a white picket fence, and she'll probably have a kid here pretty soon, but she wants you to stay single and unhappy. So for J.D. Vance to talk about faith and family was really so beautiful and such a message to young men. And I think Erika Kirk is going to be such a force moving into the future, speaking to young women. I actually said last night, I'd love to see a J.D. Vance, Erika Kirk ticket in 2028. He can get the young men, she can get the young women. I want to play you a clip, okay? We have a clip of Erika Kirk talking about forgiveness. And this is when I really broke down and cried. The fact that she was able to forgive her husband's assassin after 11 days shows you her faith, her strength, her character, and exactly who she is. Let's take a look at the clip and you guys get the tissues because it's very emotional.
My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men just like the one who took his life. On the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
This moment felt like a national catharsis. I think people for almost 2 weeks had felt anger, sadness, grief, confusion, rage. But for her to stand there in front of tens of thousands of people, millions watching at home, and say, I forgive you, to her husband's assassin, it was a moment where we could exhale a little bit and release it. And I think Erika Kirk has such incredible work to do. She's now the CEO and the head of Turning Point. She's going to be this massive political figure moving forward, carrying the torch for her husband. And I think she's going to do so beautifully. I think she's going to expand on what he did. And he's going to be looking down on her proud. But I felt when she forgave Tyler Robinson, it was a way of saying, you know what? I got to be there for my kids, for the country, for the organization, for the employees, for our supporters. I have a lot of work to do. And you can't get that work done if you're carrying around the anger and the grief. And we've all had to forgive someone at one point or another in our lives for doing something unforgivable. But if we don't do that, then you're going to carry it around. You're not going to be productive. You're not going to get anything done. You're going to be stuck and stunted and living with one foot in the past. And it felt like in that moment, maybe that's why I cried. It just felt like she released. She just released and said, I'm moving forward. I'm moving on. I'm getting emotional talking about it now. But no, it just seemed like she was ready to say, you know what? I am not going to be owned by this deranged lunatic, Tyler Robinson, who took my husband's life. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to work and I'm going to get things done for this country. And it just felt like an exhale. And it felt like we could all exhale just a little bit too. It just felt like a huge release for the country. Like I said, it was a catharsis. And the last clip I want to play, if you did not see the memorial and if you haven't been online so much, she talks about the lost boys in our country and how Charlie Kirk was able to speak to these young men. He tapped into these young men. He was able to move so many young men to the right. So many young men came out in droves to vote for President Trump because of the work that Charlie Kirk did. But Erika Kirk understands them as well. Let's take a listen.
Charlie passionately wanted to reach and save the lost boys of the West. The young men who feel like they have no direction, no purpose, no faith, and no reason to live. The men wasting their lives on distractions, and the men consumed with resentment, anger, and hate. Charlie wanted to help them. He wanted them to have a home with Turning Point USA. And when he went onto campus, he was looking to show them a better path and a better life that was right there for the taking.
The fact that she articulated this was so important to the country because people are probably looking at her saying she can speak to young women, to moms, to all these girls across the country, but she's really tapped into what's going on with these men too, because we have an epidemic of despondency in this country, and a lot of professors talk about it, a lot of scholars talk about it, some influencers talk about it. We actually have a term for these young men who are completely checked out of society that I learned last year. It's NEET. They call them NEET, not in education, employment, or training. And I think 1 in 5 young men are completely checked out from society. They're at home, they're playing video games, they're not looking for jobs, they've either moved back home, they're somehow paying their bills and getting by, but they have no interest in dating and having sex and having relationships, and they're completely checked out. And Charlie was able to ignite something in them and galvanize them and reach them and just say, you know what, you're not lost, right? You're not lost. We're going to bring you back into the fold, right? If you thought you wanted to check out from society, we're going to bring you back in. And the fact that Erika Kirk articulated this was so beautiful because I understand, right, women's rights, and we have so many feminists in our country, but we can't have strong women without strong men, right? If we tear our men down and we don't uplift our men, how can our women be strong, right? We don't always need this battle of the sexes all the time, right? It takes 2 to tango here. It takes 2 to have a beautiful family. And so how can we support our women if so many of our men are checking out from society, the men who built this country, right? So many who built this country with their hands, as I spoke about at Charlie Kirk's memorial. So the fact that she spoke about this, I thought was so beautiful. It was on the nose. It was poignant. It was something that needed to be said, these lost boys in the country. And I'm going to continue speaking about this and doing what I can to reach them. I think Erika Kirk has the skills to be able to reach them as well. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's wicked smart, she's intelligent, she understands the culture, she understands the problems in a very nuanced way. So I think she'll be incredibly important reaching these young men who are despondent and who she calls the lost boys. I don't know about you, but after I travel, my skin is dry. That's when Peak's Radiant Skin Duo came to the rescue. This doctor-recommended duo, trusted by experts like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Jason Fung, and Dr. Will Cole, supports whole body wellness from the inside out. Sun Goddess Matcha provides steady, calm energy throughout the day, packed with L-theanine for focus and EGCG antioxidants. It supports skin clarity and gut health. BT Fountain electrolytes hydrate like nothing else and help lock moisture in, making skin look amazing. And Peak ensures all ingredients are free from heavy metals, pesticides, and mold. If you need more hydration, then give Peak a try. Get 20% off plus a free frother and glass beaker here. peaklife.com/link. Again, that's peaklife.com/link.